There has to be a better way than this. Game developers call Microsoft's latest layoffs a colossal waste of talent from a publisher that seems like it's in a death spiral. A lot of things wrong with this. It's not a waste of talent because all the talent is long gone. The actual talent left the industry a while ago, and they either completely left the industry or they moved into indie or AA projects. The current people they got left are bloat, not talent. So that I just want to correct you there. And second, I agree with what Mark Kern said in his response to this. This is now not just the best way, it's the only way left. Because we tried to do this other ways. We tried to fix the industry before it got to this point. But the industry itself fought us every step of the way. We've been telling them for a decade they're going down the wrong path. We've been telling them for a long time what it is we actually want, and they ignore us or they insult us. So this is now the only way. The only way they'll understand is with money. The only voice they're capable of hearing is the voice of the greenbacks. That's it. If this is what we have to do, then so be it. We tried every other way and it didn't work. And now that they're forced into the nuclear option, now suddenly they're willing to listen. Oh, come on, guys. Don't you think this is a little bit extreme? Oh, there's got to be a better way. Yeah, there was, but you've been ignoring it for the past decade. Yeah, meanwhile, exactly. Companies that actually give players what they want seem to be doing fine. Yeah, we're not seeing Hoyo, Shift Up, or Nexon announcing layoffs. In fact, they're hiring people and giving their employees bonuses. I wonder why. So there are ways. It's just you guys, you didn't want to hear it when you had the chance. In response to heartbreaking turmoil, devs share grim humor, frustration, and fears for the industry's future. Now, the AAA industry is effectively going to die. And no one cares because they are what's holding gaming back now. All of the good stuff is coming out of AA and indies now. AAA is just a parasite at this point. We don't need any more Concords. Yesterday, despite posting $26 billion in profits and outperforming Wall Street forecast in the last quarter, Microsoft began its latest round of restructuring with a targeted goal of laying off 9,000 employees. Yeah, that's because Microsoft, for all their flaws, they're starting to realize that all of this woke garbage that they committed to is unsustainable, and they need to get rid of it now before it's too late. Many of these cuts have affected the Xbox gaming division, leading to cancellations of projects like Rare's Everwild and the unannounced ZeniMax MMO, and studio closures for teams like The Initiative, which have been developing that canceled Perfect Dark reboot. Good! That's a mercy killing. Apparently, across the board, Bethesda's been canceling a lot of projects, though. More than just that one unannounced MMO. And Microsoft has now laid off over 20,000 people since the start of current year -2. So going back to an article I covered previously, it's a big deal. Like it's massive international news when Microsoft lays off 20,000 people over the course of 2 years. UPS laid off 20,000 people just this month, and no one cares. On social media, game developers from solo indies to AAA studio staff and everything in between have shared their dismay over the continued turmoil affecting their peers and colleagues. Yeah, these are the shills that are still trying to suck up to the legacy industry. Yeah, they're going to sink with that ship because I bet they're not making anything that's really worth much either. It's heartbreaking to watch what's happening in this industry that I love, said Eric Neustadter, a former operations manager at Xbox Live and current VP of technology at the Pokemon Company. Oh, is that why they've been getting worse with each game? The incentives are misaligned so strongly that fun games and profitable teams aren't what matter. Oh, now you suddenly care. When us gamers have been telling you what we wanted for years, you just, made up excuses for why you can't give it to us. And now that your Chinese and Korean competitors are actually giving us what we want instead of excuses, now you've always been on our side, right? BioWare veteran and current Skate narrative director John Epler said he's reeling over the news that's continuing to break about further microshaft cuts. 18 years in the industry, and I can confidently say this is the grimmest shit has been yet. No, the grimmest it has been yet was a few years ago, before it got to this point. No, so when it was looking like the woke infestation was going to get into everything, that's the grimmest it was. Now that everything is collapsing before all the wokeness can infest everyone else, no, man, now that China and Korea have shown up to save the game industry, it's looking up. It's only looking grim if you only look at Western AAA. Everything outside of Western AAA is doing fine. And I'm ranking most of Japan in with Western AAA since they tied their wagon to that horse. So they get to share the same fate. There has to be a better way than this, said Vlambir, co-founder Ramil Ismail. There has to be a better games industry than this happening to so many people over and over again. This isn't good enough. Hey, guess what? There is in China and Korea, but you guys don't want to hear that, do you? The games industry is going to turn me into the Joker, said award-nominated Civilization 7 and Marvel's Midnight Suns writer Emma Kidwell. Civ 7 has been a dumpster fire. Award nominated by who? A paid-off shill? Man, I would not want to put Civ 7 on my resume. Unless they pull a No Man's Sky and just have a massive turnaround. Oh, dude, I would not be bragging about having worked on that turd. Many devs see Microsoft's layoffs as emblematic of an industry trapped in a doomed pursuit of perpetual growth. Oh, you mean exactly what we've been saying for years and been getting ignored or worse, called names for it? Well, guess what, man? I don't have any sympathy for you guys anymore. You guys had over a decade to fix this shit, and you wait until after it's too late to even try. No, I just don't care anymore. You guys abandoned us, because just to head off the excuses, they're going to say gamers abandoned them. No, you abandoned us first. You made it clear that we're not your audience. You didn't want us as customers anymore. You abandoned us first. Don't blame us when you fail. We are under no obligation to save failing companies that don't make anything we want anyway. Your competition from China and Korea is giving me what I want. I'll move my money over there. I don't care about you guys at all anymore. You've made your bed. Now it's time to get fucked in it. Yeah, pretty much this. Yeah, none of what you make is for me. So I found stuff that was for me. And it wasn't being made by you. Laying off thousands of people so that your numbers look better for the quarter while making many more billions is such an effed up reality. You realize they're only doing this as an excuse to get rid of bloat too, right? Said Chandana Ekanayake, co-founder and creative director at Outer Loop Games. Making numbers go up forever is not sustainable. It never was. What a colossal waste of talent. No, that is a true statement. I'm not gonna say this guy is wrong. It's just, why did it take you guys so long to notice this? You haven't seen Valve just completely bending the industry over a barrel the past few years and outperforming all of you because they're privately owned and they're not worried about constantly making line go up for investors? You think at some point one of you regards would have caught on? I guess what it takes is for the whole industry to burn down to get any of these morons to notice. And when mass layoffs are just a quarterly event, is that not just a death spiral? Asks Bruno Diaz, a former lead narrative and systems designer on Fallen London, who notes that Xbox seems to be carving up its own publishing portfolio while it's seemingly moving away from hardware. Xbox behaves like a company that's been sold to private equity and is having the copper stripped out of the walls. That might be what's happening, though. So if Xbox's gamble on Game Pass ends up being a failure, I would not be surprised if Microsoft just left gaming as a whole. So they'll probably sell Bethesda and Activision to somebody else, or more likely they might spin them off as their own companies again and just divest themselves from gaming. Because look, companies exist to make money. If they are not able to make money in gaming, if they fail to make money long enough, they will leave entirely. Andrew Carl, systems designer at Respawn, said the newest Microsoft cuts are particularly hard to stomach given the company's heavy investment into the dumpster fire of generative AI development. Remember that all this carnage at Microsoft is coming at the same time as they're financially doubling down on the agentic and generative AI slop that nobody wants because it lies to you, has terrible security issues, and has untenable energy costs. Now, this is cope right here. This is 100% cope. Yeah, sure. No one likes AI because of the environment. Because it's look, AI has lied to me less than the mainstream media. Okay, security issues. All the security issues I've been a victim of have been due to human error, not AI. No, the only reason that AI has that there's a lot of distaste for it is because of people like you who are just protecting your own asses. I understand that. Just be honest about it. But the other reason is there is a lot of AI slop out there. So AI has made it really easy for literally anyone to just churn out mountains of slop relatively quickly. So there is a lot of really low effort slop flooding every single market now, thanks to AI. That is giving AI a bad rep. But what a lot of these people aren't looking at, they're not noticing, almost everyone is already using AI. It's just the people that are doing it well, like they integrate AI as part of their process, and they have humans look over the work the AI does and correct it if there's any sloppish behavior. So they're almost everyone is already using AI to speed up their workflow to reduce the number of people they need, and no one even notices. Once we get to the point where AI doesn't even need human handlers, though, because this is the worst it's ever going to be. The state AI is in right now is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here. Once we get to the point where the AI is actually about as good as a talented person, then we're going to get into some interesting topics because I asked you guys before, the only reason people hate AI is because of the slop that's flooding the market, and the AI slop is pretty easy to spot, right? But what would you guys think if you found out tomorrow that your favorite video game or your favorite anime or your favorite movie or your favorite book was created by AI? Would you suddenly not like it anymore if you knew it was made by AI? The vast majority of people, if they're being honest and they're not trying to virtue signal AI bad, the answer is no. And this is what Asmongold got a lot of shit for months ago when he basically said the same thing, that most people don't really care as long as the end product is good. So once people start cleaning up the AI slop and actually make it good, no one's going to care about AI anymore. Like the Crunchyroll is getting a lot of shit right now because they got caught using ChatGPT for their subtitles. But they only got caught because the subtitles were shit and AI prompts were left in the subtitle. So they got caught and it was bad. If the subtitles were good and everyone liked them, and then it came out, it was discovered that they were made using AI, not only would nobody care, but I think that would actually just add fuel to the fire of people saying, see, this is why we can replace the localizers with AI. Didn't digital art catch crap? No, it did. So when drawing tablets were first created, the artists that draw on physical pen and paper were throwing shade at digital artists. Like, oh, that's not real art. Yeah, with AI, it's the same thing. Real talented artists are going to use AI as a tool to help them to help their work, and they're going to be fine. Like that's where it's going to be in the future. Microsoft said in January it intends to spend $80 billion on AI this year. That's more money than it spent buying Activision. Let's put that into perspective. Activision was only worth $69 billion. Or at least that's what they paid for it. I wouldn't say they're worth anywhere near that much. Even Seamus Blackley, creator and designer of the original Xbox, who left Microsoft in current year minus 23, said that Xbox's current strategy, assuming there is one, is self-defeating. No, I think Microsoft needs to commit. So I definitely think they had a good idea moving away from physical console hardware towards becoming a storefront, basically. But they're still too committed to the fucking console. It's holding them back. And then also, instead of doing something like Steam, maybe they're focused on Game Pass, which is supposed to be like the Netflix of video games, but hasn't really been able to make that much as much money as they would have wanted so far. I definitely think that they were on the right path, but they're just not willing to commit to it. And then when they do commit to it, they still are able to fuck it up. Think of the number of great games that had troubled development histories. All of them, Blackley said. Now consider how often executives cancel troubled games. Smooth development comes only when you take no risks. Greatness only comes only when great risks are braved. Do the math. Yeah, see, this guy, I mean, credit where it's due. He created the original Xbox, but he has no clue what he's talking about here. The reason so many of these games are flopping is it's actually they take no risks with the concept of the game. Like the entire, like every artistic decision is made by committee and is just safe, normie, wider audience slop that nobody wants. So they take absolutely no risks there. And then where they do take the risks is continuing to throw good money after bad and keep. So some of these games are in development hell for almost a decade before they finally get canceled. Like, what's your limit? When is enough enough? If you, I mean, I do agree that there are some games that were canceled before their time that they could, like, I think Hytale, if it was allowed to actually reach completion under the original engine, could have been great. We actually got an example, like one of my favorite games, Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. That game was just given a deadline because it was in development hell. Bethesda gave them a cutoff, and then they just released the game, which killed it. Because the first 2/3 of the game are great. And then it gets to the part where obviously they weren't done bug fixing yet. And the last 1/3 of that game is a dumpster fire. It has so many game-breaking bugs in it, it's not even funny. If they were allowed to have another year to fix it, it could have been that game could have been considered a masterpiece if it was allowed to be finished. But the vast majority of these games that are being canceled are safe corporate slop that nobody wanted anyway. See, this guy just has no idea what he's talking about because he's still stuck in the 2002 mindset. Back then, they were making good games. Now, all these corporations do is shit out slop. And when a lot of these slops, like when the slop gets finally outed as not being able to sell, the smart companies have to be willing to cancel it. How much money do you think PlayStation could have saved if they shit-canned Concord after $200 million? Instead of spending an extra $200 million to outsource the work to all these other studios to finish the game, if they just shit-canned it at the $200 million mark, they would have lost half as much money as they did on that game. But no, give it a chance, guys. This one other game it went through development hell and it made money. There's a reason you guys are going broke. while your competition in China and Korea are flourishing, okay? China and Korea at least are making games people want. They might not always land the execution, but they're on the right path. One of his followers joked the math is being done by co-pilots. Blackley said then it will be wrong and it will insist it's right. Oh, so like a AAA gaming developer or executive? That's pretty much exactly what AAA is infamous for. Even though the indies are wiping the floor with them. Elsewhere, Frax's narrative director Kat Manning said what felt like a summation of the industry's exhaustion. I just want to make things that get players excited, man. And yet you're working in a corporate product mill. If you just want to make things that get players excited, well, first of all, you have to actually be in tune with what players want. Because no one's going to get excited about yet another DEI. Oh, but you could this marginalized group is finally represented, and that's not going to get gamers excited. You can't make shit like that. Look at what China and Korea are doing. Look at the games they're making. Make games like that as an indie or a double A. That's going to get gamers excited. But you know what? I'm sure your idea for yet another roguelike deck builder with pixel art graphics is going to just light the charts on fire, I'm sure.